We did have fun that one time. We did pumpkins and a pint, and we went to the bar. And
So I think that it was the pint part that I found really fun.
yeah, so true. And I just carved my pumpkin to look like a beer.
Jonesy and Ray, just wondering.
Welcome back to Just Wondering podcast, where we will surprise each other with whatever topics come to mind. We literally know nothing and have made a rule to never research before recording. So buckle up.
We're your hosts. I'm Jones.
And I'm Ray.
And Ray, I was just wondering about Halloween.
Very fitting topic.
Exactly.
Cool.
How did it start? I don't know why I said it like that.
Honestly, beats me. I have no idea how it started.
I know there's like Hallows Eve, which I think
Right.
is actually October 30th.
I think it's like called Hallows Eve, right? All Hallows
Yeah.
Eve. That's so hard to say.
So like the eve of Halloween. But I don't know how it like actually started. Like how Halloween became what it is today.
Or like, what was it when it started?
Probably something like spooky happened, and then everyone was like, this is it, now it's spooky time. But how did it turn into like dressing up?
When is Day of the Dead?
Like I don't know.
Did you almost say May 5th?
I did almost say May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo, I think, is not the same thing as Day of the Dead. I think Day of the Dead is Halloween, but I think it is actually on Halloween Eve as well.
Okay.
And that is the tradition where like all of the spirits of your ancestors are like there to celebrate with. So you would go to like the graveyard or like, but you dress up also as skeletons or whatever, like the
Yeah,
Day
like
of
the
the
Day
Dead
of the
like,
Dead makeup.
Yeah, and it's like a Mexican tradition of like celebrating the life that your family has had, right? So you have like maybe like like photos of all of your like passed away family members, and you light candles, and it's just like a celebration of
I don't want to go to
basically
that party.
of their spirits. So maybe that has like, Mexico is like obviously very close to the States and to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have like trickled up from there. And there's a lot of like immigration from Mexico throughout the rest of North America.
Yeah,
So it
that's
could
true.
have trickled through there. But like to dress up for Day of the Dead and celebrate the life of your passed away ancestors seems very different than dressing up as Tinkerbell.
Yeah. It is true. That is a good theory, because I don't really think that Halloween's like that big in Europe or in other places. Like I'm not sure about like Australia or like New Zealand, like those kind of areas, but I know like in Europe it's not really a thing. Like I think there's probably some places that do celebrate it, but not the same way that it's celebrated here. Like we really go all out for it.
Yeah, they don't in like Australia and New Zealand.
Interesting. Yeah, it's so, and I just like wonder how it became like, okay, let's go to all these people's houses and say trick or treat, and now we're gonna get candy. You never get a trick. Like that's kind of like a trick itself.
It would be so disappointing as a kid for someone to just do a trick for you, because like you're actually just going out getting free candy.
Imagine you said trick or treat and someone just did a backflip and they were like, there you go.
As an adult, I'd be very impressed if someone did that for my kid. If I was like taking my child trick-or-treating and then someone did a trick, I'd be like, wow, that's very impressive. Well done. But as a kid, I'd be like, but do I still get a chocolate bar?
Yeah, but where's the candy? This year, obviously, trick-or-treating isn't really going to happen, I don't think. I know there's some people who are still going to do it, but they're saying like, especially like in Toronto, that we shouldn't be trick-or-treating. And the one plus side of that is that the Halloween candy is already on sale. I have limited myself to one of each kind per day if I'm going to eat them.
What kinds do you have?
It's like the classic box, you know, like the Kit Kat, Aero, Coffee Crisp, and Smarties.
Aero and Smarties are not my favorite.
If I never ate a Smartie again, I wouldn't care. But yeah, the bad thing about this year is I had a good Halloween costume idea and I was really excited for it, but I didn't really do anything to set it up because it just doesn't seem as worth it this year. Like obviously it's not all about like attention and showing it off, but I'd rather save this costume for next year or whatever when I can go out and do things. What is your favorite Halloween costume that you've ever had?
I really like the Pebbles one. It's just like a really easy
Yeah.
go-to. Yeah, I like to plan my costumes around my existing hairstyles. So Pebbles Flintstone is like a really good go-to for me because it's just
Yeah.
like a top bun with a turkey bone in my hair.
Do you use
Like
a real bone?
yeah, I saved it from Thanksgiving one year and I boiled it and then bleached it and then varathaned it. So yeah, it's a real turkey bone.
I remember once coming to your Halloween birthday, but it was like it wasn't like a costume party, but I thought it was. Everyone was just dressed in like spooky clothes, and I showed up as Tinky Winky.
Yeah, I remember like no one really dressed up except for Nicole came as Tinky Winky and John came as a Spartan and literally wore a skirt.
I look real cute. This is really good. Like went to
Yeah.
the liquor store like that. Like, I
And
mean,
also
I don't.
it was like a full fleece onesie, so it
It
was
was
so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it was a really good costume for me because the onesie was the perfect Tinky Winky color and I have the perfect
Yeah.
Teletubby body shape. So it was like, it was really good. But I think my best costume was when I did Melissa McCarthy from Bridesmaids. And someone asked me, are you supposed to be on a plane? And I was so bad. I was like, this costume is perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Cartman was also a great costume. Thank you so much for the hat.
I specifically loved taking videos of you yelling "fuck you, Kyle." Yeah.
You go. Yeah, I love Halloween. I love dressing up and
Would you say your favorite Halloween tradition is dressing up in a costume?
yes.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
too.
Like I just love how fun it is and like seeing everyone's costumes and like I'm a big fan of homemade costumes. Like I'd rather someone put in effort even though it might not look perfect.
When I was a kid, I didn't like having homemade costumes because everyone in my school always had like these nice, like, store-bought costumes.
Yeah.
And I always felt like my outfits always look kind of budget because my mom would help me make them. But in retrospect, like when everyone else came dressed as Jasmine in like their turquoise pants and belly top, my mom made me one that was like metallic gold, a metallic gold, like genie pants and
Ooh.
belly top, and it was so cute. But on the day of Halloween, I felt like embarrassed because I didn't actually have a Jasmine costume, right?
Interesting. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
there's definitely I think it is like once you get older you realize how different it is. Like it's so much nicer to build your costume and put it together yourself.
A Halloween tradition that I don't like is carving pumpkins. It's like it's good because then you have your like pumpkin out front and that means like, oh, this is a house where you can get candy. So it's a good
Is that what it's
symbol for the
supposed to
kids.
mean?
If you were a kid and you were going past a house on Halloween and it had a lit pumpkin, you're gonna go knock on the door and say trick or treat.
Very true.
If they've carved a pumpkin, they probably have candy to give out.
True.
It's really hard and they never look the way that I envision them. And it's gross.
It is
and
gross. I don't like that part of it.
It's
Like
not fun.
out and it gets everywhere and it's so like gooey and weird. We did have fun that one time we did pumpkins in a pint and we went to the bar and
So I think that it was the pint part that I found really fun.
yeah, so true. And I just carved my pumpkin to look like a beer. I don't know why we carve pumpkins though. Like I don't know, how did that start?
I don't know. And like also, so I remember being a kid and like then you bake the pumpkin seeds and you have like these crispy pumpkin seeds to eat. But like it must have been something like in the past they used the inside of the pumpkin for something.
Yeah, like pumpkin pie.
Yeah, but do you not use the shell of the pumpkin? Is it even a shell? If you cut open the pumpkin, would you actually just dig out the seeds and use it for something? No, right? It's just for roasting pumpkin seeds. There's not enough flesh in it. I think you need to use the whole pumpkin if you're gonna make a pumpkin pie.
I don't know. I only ever made the pie from that like EJ Smith's pumpkin can.
In Australia, they don't grow pumpkins. And so my sister every year for Thanksgiving, she makes a squash pie. She just gets a butternut squash and makes pumpkin pie with butternut squash because
How does it taste?
I think it tastes good, but also I think she's kind of out of it because in Australia they don't have sweet pies. They only have like meat pies, like savory pies.
Okay.
So to not have like a bakery baked fruit pie for like 8 years and then you make yourself a squash pie, it's probably gonna taste amazing.
I think with pumpkin pie and squash pie, they would probably taste very similar because the taste is more like the allspice that you're putting in it, like the nutmeg and the cinnamon and stuff anyway, right?
Like mom just made that pumpkin soup for us and it just tasted the same thing as butternut squash soup.
That is true. Yeah. When you're saying when you cut open a pumpkin, I was just imagining someone cutting a pumpkin just in half and like what that would look like.
Imagine.
Never cut a pumpkin like that. I've only ever cut the top off and then like,
I'm
just
gonna
like
do it.
cut it in half like you would like a butternut squash. Do those mini pumpkins have pumpkin seeds in them? Like, can you make pumpkin seeds out of the mini pumpkins?
I don't know. I'm gonna cut them all in half.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. So if you could document it for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's so many weird traditions that come with Halloween, and I don't know where any of them came from.
So if there was like the Day of the Dead celebration, but you're not from Mexico and you don't understand that it's like to celebrate the life and death of your ancestors,
Mhm.
maybe it would seem very spooky to see a whole bunch of like skeleton dressed people wandering around in the streets. And then in your mind, you're just like, well, then, like, what are the other spooky things?
Mhm.
And so then it's like a spooky night. Everyone's like outside after dark. It gets dark early. But like even like people really like to watch horror movies around Halloween. They
Yeah, I
like
don't
to
know if
get
that's
spooked.
also like the weather and like that it's getting darker and all the leaves are falling and then
Yeah, and like what about haunted houses and stuff too? I forgot
yeah,
about haunted houses.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't really like haunted houses that much.
I don't like scary things.
When I watch scary movies, I don't get scared like, oh my God, this might be real. I get shocked very easily, like the spook factor. I'm very jumpy.
I'm not very jumpy. I get like terrified. Like I'm really scared of the dark. If I know the power went out, for example, then I'm just like, well, now there's killers in my house.
There probably isn't any killers.
Yeah, right?
Do you have a least favorite costume that you've dressed up in?
Nothing like specifically comes to mind other than one time recently I dressed up as like a marathon runner, and I've never run a marathon, never want to run a marathon. What's your least favorite costume?
When I was in university, like I was not planning on going out for Halloween, and I think I ended up going out as like a cowgirl or like something
Uh,
stupid because I like had cowboy boots and like a cowboy hat, but like I wasn't planning on going out for Halloween, and then last minute did, and I was like, and so that was just like very lazy and like not put together. It'd be really interesting to hear how Halloween started, and if you guys know the
mhm.
like origin. I think it's probably also worth saying to like be cautious of the costumes that you wear.
Like cultural appropriation, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we've learned a lot over the last couple years and just knowing what is appropriate and what is not. I love Halloween. I do wish that we weren't in a pandemic. This was supposed to be like the Halloween because it's
A
on a
weekend.
Saturday and it's
Mhm.
daylight savings, so you would get an extra hour of Halloween. But I remember being a kid and I hated when Halloween was on the weekend.
Yeah, because you couldn't go to the costume parade at school.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want everyone to admire my costume.
Did you know that now they tell kids to wear a different costume at school than they're gonna wear trick or treating?
Why?
So that in case it gets ruined?
No, it's because people want to make money off of kids and off
Yeah,
of their families and stuff. That's stupid.
that's what I said. Someone told me that like at
I
work
don't like
last
that.
year, and I was like, I don't understand like why you only wear it for one day anyway.
If you have multiple kids, like my family could have never afforded 6 Halloween costumes.
No way.
Yeah, that is like definitely promoting consumerism and just like shopping culture and spending too much money
And it just
and
creates more
wastefulness.
waste.
If it gets ruined, it gets ruined. You're only wearing it once.
One day, like you're gonna go out on Halloween night and it's gonna be fine. Even if you spill something on it, it's fine. You're a kid. No one's gonna be like, no, you have a spill on your costume. No candy for you.
When you said that, I almost just poured my whole beer over me and being like, yeah, sometimes you spill on yourself. It doesn't mean you like everything's over. It's not game over if you spill something on yourself.
So true.
I would know.
No, yeah.
Jones, I was just wondering, what are you drinking today?
Oh man, today I am drinking this Royal City Hibiscus Saison that I think was yours, and you left it in my cooler. So it's delicious. Thanks so much. What are
No
you
problem.
drinking, Ray?
Today I'm drinking an Oast Forgotten Field Sour IPA. And the can looks like wallpaper, so I'm pretty into it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We'd love to hear what you guys have to say about Halloween, where it came from, everything like that.
What's your favorite costume? What's your least favorite costume? Do we know why people carve pumpkins? What do the insides of pumpkins look like if you just cut it straight in half? If anyone wants to do that experiment and send that to us, that'd be cool.
We'd love it.
Why do we give out candy? Also, like, why do we give out apples? Because like that's always a disappointment. Don't give out apples.
So let us know. You can follow us on Instagram at just.wondering.podcast. Email us at justwonderingpodcast.ray@gmail.com, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.
Peace out.
Bye. What is going on?
I don't know.